ado, Miss Boss, which, I mean,
Best
last name ever.
Boss.
Yes. Like when you talk to people, is it like, well, you should do it like a boss, or just like me? Like that's, you can say that because it's
like a boss.
Like a boss.
Really can. Well, thank you so much for having me. It is a true joy and my pleasure to serve in this way. I love serving your leaders, Cassie and Kyle. It just fills my cup. Just a little background. I have been a business owner and in the service-based industry for a really long time. I've been doing it for 15 years. I actually started as a celebrity hairstylist in Los Angeles for a long time, and I was trained by some of the top in the industry, and I was taught very thick skin and how to have high levels of customer service to extremely demanding people at an early age. And I liken my experience to, if you've ever seen the movie The Devil Wears Prada, that was my hair apprenticeship experience for a long time. I was on a reality TV show when that was filmed, so it was a blast. But I learned a lot about service, and I learned a lot about people in my 15 years being a hairstylist and truly understanding how people think, feel, act, and make decisions. And that actually became the foundation of building a really successful coaching business, not because I'm like, I'm God's gift, but just because I learned to use God's gifts to me. And that was deeply understanding and serving people. Another fun fact is my husband was also in the ministry for a long time. He was a pastor of a church. So we've served in that capacity. So I've had many, many years of just deeply understanding people. And one of my favorite expressions about marketing is that marketing is what radical empathy is. Marketing is an expression of radical empathy. And the point of that is when you seek to deeply understand people and understand their needs and seek to meet the needs, that is how you find radical empathy with your audience and really sit in their shoes and seek to meet a need. When you can find a way to embrace radical empathy and bring it into your business will change for the rest of your whole life will change if you can practice radical empathy, but bring it to your business, because service, your servanthood, is an expression of radical empathy and your ability to sit in someone else's shoes. I think your leaders have exemplified this well, and I think there's a good team culture here. And I think if you were a team that had the ethos of radical empathy, you would really be world changers. And so I was excited about this topic about selling versus serving, because I know in this industry, I hear a lot of people, let's scoot back a little bit. A lot of people, when they sign up, they're like, oh, no. I am not a salesperson. I mean, how many of you at one point or another have felt like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. Like you almost like squirm, want to hide in a corner, and you're like, I don't sell. Anybody? Show of hands? Yes? Okay. Yep. Okay. So we have this for some reason, we have a repelling mindset around selling. And a lot of times we get that the person at the mall booth at the mall that's spraying you with product that you don't want to be sprayed with, like you were trying to avoid them, or the used car salesperson, or the really pushy person. We seem to have a negative connotation around selling. And my mission for you tonight is to actually shift your mindset around selling and how to actually see it as something not only that you see in a positive light, but something you enjoy doing. I mean, just sit with that and be like, enjoy selling, Kristen? What kind of voodoo crazy are you telling us about? I promise when I give you some mindset shifts on this, you will feel different about selling. And one of the most impactful things I ever heard someone say about selling was that selling is actually the highest form of serving. Selling is the highest form of serving. And the reason why is because when marketing is radical empathy. And when we are selling, what we are doing is we are providing a solution to somebody's pain, to a problem someone has. You as an entrepreneur, you are a problem solver. Entrepreneurs are people that go out and seek to find solutions to a problem that a lot of the population is facing, which is why right now in this time of COVID-19, a lot of uncertainty, it is the time of the entrepreneur. It is the time of the problem solver. It is the time of the servant, because people are looking for solutions to their problems. So if we are to shift our idea about selling being the highest form of serving, why is that? And a lot of times selling actually is serving, and serving is selling. It really is just a mindset reframe. But there is energy that you bring to your selling or your serving based on your thoughts around it. So if you have this like, I don't sell, you tend to, it gets weird in your conversations with people. You tend to like be like, I don't want to offer the $199 package because what if she has money issues? And you get all up in your head about what she's thinking. You start telling stories about what you think her objections are, why she probably doesn't want it. I mean, how many of you have like told stories in your head as you're talking to people, being like, oh, she doesn't want this. Oh, she's probably going to freak out about the price. So I'm just going to offer the $99. And then I'm going to offer like a $10 cash add in. And then I'm going to pay for her membership. It's like, you're literally cheapening. This is maybe hard to hear, but you are actually cheapening the level of transformation that someone could have when they say yes to themselves. If you are bringing down the cost of them saying yes to themselves, you're actually lowering the level of transformation that they have when they say yes to themselves. If you're bringing their yes down to their comfort level, no real change is really happening, because change doesn't happen at our comfort level. It happens beyond our comfort level. And when we are serving people, it means we are willing to bring them outside of their comfort zones and meet them in their growth zones. And their growth zones are going to be uncomfortable. And it does mean you're going to hear objections. And I want you to know that objections are okay. Objections have nothing to do with you. All objections are is their brain freaking out with something new. It's just a physiological response where they are wired, physiologically wired in their brain to look for reasons to say no to anything new or scary that causes change. And it has nothing to do with you. And we have this expression in the coaching world that your job is not to avoid objections. Your job is to find them, because their objections are the exact reasons why they are not where they are at, where they want to be in their life. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. What will my husband say? All these things. If you're in selling energy, which can sometimes be very selfish oriented, like you're focused on your own outcome of the call. I want to rank up. I want to get the sale. I want to close. You're very focused on your own outcome rather than getting into serving energy and getting into the outcome of the person you're talking with, being like, how can I help her get the outcome she wants? If they have reached out to you, they want what you have. Your job is to help them move through their objections, move through their fear and their subconscious, and serve them in a way that helps them say yes to themselves. They're not saying yes to you. When you realize that conversations are about helping people say yes to themselves rather than yes to you, suddenly, when you take yourself out of the equation, it becomes a serving conversation. But when it becomes, I have to close this, I have to rank, I need this. Well, guess what? Needy is greedy. And you cannot be greedy and serve at the same time. And when we are in our selling energy, when we are in that place of like, I need, and we're very outcome oriented for our own outcome, rather than the outcome of the person we are talking with, that is when we're in that selling, not serving energy. We are becoming the car salesperson. We are becoming the hairspray booth person in the mall. We don't want to be that, right? So another way to keep it as like a service first experience is to make it about their transformation and not just the transaction. If you are transaction oriented, a good way to do a self-check for you is, are you attached to their answer? Do you have emotional investment in their yes or in their no? If you have emotional investment in their answer, you're attached to your own outcome, not theirs. And this is huge. This is, part of the thing I teach like coaches who are having to sell $10,000 packages is I have to help them feel confident in why that's transformational for somebody. And when they're caught up in their own head about all the stories they're telling, they're no longer serving their client, they're serving themselves. And we do this the same in network marketing. When you're caught up in your own story in your own head while you're talking to somebody, you're no longer serving them, you're serving you. So when we get the focus off of ourselves and back on them and be like, what is it they want? And how can I seek to understand them and meet the need. Meeting needs is what makes you an exceptional business owner. Meeting the needs, seeking to understand them, and then seeking to meet the need. So your point of view is what shifts the entire selling or serving experience. So I have a few like prerequisites for before you get on a call or before you reach out or before you make an offer to somebody. I kind of have like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's true though. Like, you got to check it, sister. You got to check it, brother, whatever it is. Like, you got to clear your head. Who is this for? Your job is to go in there and serve them and help find out, not avoid objections, find them, because how we do one thing in life is how we do everything. If she's negotiating why her health isn't worth it, she's negotiating in other areas why her marriage isn't worth it, why focusing on her kids isn't worth it, why financial health in certain areas isn't worth it. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you can help provide a transformation on her belief in saying yes, it will ripple into other areas of her life. So your job is to help uncover, put on your super sleuth hat, be like, my job is to help discover what's holding her back in her life and meet her there with radical empathy and serve. Even if she says no, how else can I serve? And that is the sign at the end of the call, is when you know, even if they said yes, you can lay your head on your pillow at night and say, I served them well. I met them where they're at. They were heard, they were understood, and I met them with empathy. I served them well. And they'll be back. Okay? They'll be back. So check your motives. Is this for their outcome or yours? Check your heart. Who is this for? Is this about a transformation or a transaction? And then check your head. What are your thoughts? Are you telling a story about them before you get on the call? Are you, before you start a conversation, are you already starting to narrate her life? I know her husband, he's never going to go for this. She is someone that tries everything and she's going to drop this. It's almost like you're setting them up to fail in your brain. That doesn't make you excited to talk to them. Like, how many of you like start telling a story and then you start like feeling your energy go like, before you even start talking to them? You're just like, oh, I'm just not even excited about this. Of course you're not, because you've pre-framed in your brain why it's going to be a miserable experience. But if you go and say, hey, if I can provide transformation in a call, whether they buy a product or not, I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And I promise you, you're going to have so much more fulfillment in your business, because it's not about chasing dollars. It's about changing lives. Am I right? And when you change lives, you actually do make dollars. So if you make it your mission to change lives, I promise you the byproduct of that will be income. If you make it your mission to chase income, you are going to be in a state of hustle and perpetual burnout and scarcity often, okay? Income is always a byproduct of impact. So seek to impact, seek to transform. Another thing that's really important when you're on these calls is, or when you're talking to people, this is huge. I don't know how many of you, like, people will say yes and they'll bite and they'll join and they're like all excited and then they ghost. They're gone. You're like, what's happened? They were like so excited. They were like, oh, yay. And we were having a party and we were like having a gift party. Like, it was just a constant stream of gifts on our messenger. It was just so fun. And then they're gone. They don't respond to the calls. We don't respond to anything. They just ghosted. And then it's really awkward and everybody's uncomfortable, right? I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay. What happens is there was a transference of excitement on the call. She said yes because she bought your excitement. She bought the hype. Hype works only for so long. And then rubber hits the road and reality, or the first disappointment, the first road bump happens, and there is no hype. What you need to seek to do is, people don't change based on excitement. They change because you've changed their belief. Okay? You cannot, one of the most powerful things I heard from a coach that does high ticket sales, she's like, Kristen, we cannot change lives because we transfer excitement. We change lives because we seek to change a belief. If you can change someone's belief about themselves at an identity level, they will stay. If they were somebody that bought on the hype, they're going to ghost you. So as much as you want to like capitalize on excitement and capitalize on momentum, someone who is servant-hearted has restraint, is able to speak to them and be like, hey, whoa, I know you're so excited. but I really want success for you. So let's pause for a second. I love your enthusiasm, but let's talk about your goals here. I want to make sure you actually want this for yourself and you're not just buying my hype here. I want to make sure you're in this. That says you care. That says like, hey, I'm willing to risk losing the sale because I actually want this for you. I actually want you to want it. I don't want your dollars. I want your commitment. So a great servant-hearted salesperson is someone who's willing to practice restraint, does a lot of listening, a lot of asking questions, and a lot of shutting up. And seeking to meet them where they're at and always willing to risk losing the sale with zero detachment for the highest and best interest of the person you are serving. I promise you, you don't want just a 60-day customer, you want a lifetime customer. So if you started every conversation as if it was a lifetime customer, because guess what? Lifetime customers become raving fans. And you know what raving fans do? Is they tell their friends. And then those friends tell their friends. Because when there's trust, when they have bought in and there has been a change of belief, you don't have to ask for referrals. It doesn't have to get awkward and be like, so who do you know? It's like, no, they're like, hey, you know who wants this? Is this person, and this person. Because you've given them, you've treated them like a lifetime customer. I'm reading this great book called Hug Your Customers by Jack Mitchell. And he talks about creating a hugging experience. And this is about servant-hearted selling. And this is what I did in my hair industry for 15 years. It's why it exploded to a massive client base without doing any social media. Is I had a massive word of mouth referral basis because I was always seeking to give them an exceptional customer experience. So here's something that's really key is how you sell is how you fulfill. Be someone who fulfills on what you are selling. If you are selling a like a life-changing, if you're advertising life-changing wellness products, fulfill on that. Show up for them. Check in with them. Because if you are serving, your service goes beyond the transaction. If you are selling, it stops at the transaction. It says, okay, great. Just text me when you get a chance. Hope the detox works out. I'll check in like 14 days. You know, take some ownership. If you believed every person was a lifetime customer and that lifetime customers tell their friends, because guess what happens when you have really happy customers that you brought in the right way because you weren't in this selling, you were in serving. Because guess what? Okay, when it starts with selling, you bring in the right people. When you bring in the right people, you fulfill. When you fulfill, they stay. When they stay, there's trust. When there's trust, they tell friends. When they tell friends, now you have the strong, now what's happening is not just you're preventing attrition, now you have retention. And when you have retention, you don't have to be going out there hustling for new leads all the time. Means your happy customers are doing the lead hunting for you. Just think about that thought for a second, being like, wow, when I do this right, my happy customers are my lead generation. Like, this should be the best news for any of you who are like, I hate freaking social media. Great, have fantastic customer fulfillment, and they're going to tell your friends, even without social media, even without a brand. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I teach on personal brand and copywriting. But I'm literally telling you, if you have phenomenal service and customer fulfillment, you don't need a massive brand. Can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true. Okay? So customer fulfillment is everything. An attrition problem is not a system problem. It's a service problem. And you can sit there and say, well, what about my systems? And nobody plugged me in. Like, no, sister, take some ownership and realize this is my fulfillment. This is where I went wrong, and this is where I need to have some ownership. And this is where I can seek to serve better. And if some of you are like, holy crap, there are some people I brought in I didn't care for. And if you're like, what do I do now? Like, do I let those people be bygone? Let me tell you something. They have said yes to you once. And there's nothing like a business owner that comes back and says, hey, you know what? I don't think I fully fulfilled on what I sold you. And I really think I can serve you better this time around. Do you still have some product lying around that I can help you get started with? Like, even if you're like, we don't have to restart your order. Do you have product lying around? Let me help. Let's just start there. Let me know how I can serve you. Is there a way I can do this better with you this time around? Just take some ownership. And if they say no, you say, hey, thanks. I just wanted to touch base with you. How are you anyways? If you're faith-based, how can I pray for you? How can I serve you in other ways? How are you managing COVID? Is there any connections I can give you? Like, there's so many ways to add value other than like, hey, can I add Metaburn to your order? Like, you can say like, hey, is there anybody I can connect you with that you're needing right now? It's crazy times. Are you needing homeschool resources? Is there a book club you need? What do you need? And you will be surprised when you show up, people are going to be like, you know what? I feel cared for. I feel seen. There was radical empathy. You served. I'm here. So I just want you, if you're over there being like, oh crap, I didn't fulfill right. The game's not over. You can still go back and take some business ownership and be like, I'm ready to fulfill. I can serve exactly with what I have, and I could steward this. Who you have in your back office is not an accident. And there's a great story, and I'll wrap it up with this because I love telling the story, especially for people when you guys have orders in your back office in white lines, because it's an amazing story about customer fulfillment. So let me just consult my notes here because there's a lot. Okay, so a couple more points. Asking yourself, how can I seek to serve in every encounter I have? If you got to put it on your whiteboard, put it on your mirror, put it on your computer. How can I seek to serve in every encounter I have? 2 things is, 1, don't have an agenda. People can smell it a mile away. I tell people agenda is like a fart. There's no hiding it. They can either smell it or hear it. So don't scare your people off with an agenda. Come only with an agenda of serving, okay? Here's the second one. Please stop operating out of your own scarcity. And your own scarcity is when you are motivated by fear rather than trust. When you're motivated by need rather than service. And you'll know in your body with how it feels when you are in a place of neediness. The neediness is very graspy. It's very fear. It's anxious. You're very attached to every sale. You can feel it. I don't know about you guys, but you can feel it on those calls where you're like, oh, I pushed too hard. I know I did. Like, you know it. It gets awkward. You start breaking out into hives. Like, it happens, right? That's when you're operating out of scarcity. So I really want to encourage you is put your abundance hat on and realize there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's so many people for you to serve. And just because Cindy, your neighbor, said no doesn't mean like everybody's a no. It might just mean you need to go out and serve more people, right? So I have two columns. I have the cycle of abundance and I have the cycle of scarcity. And you'll kind of know when you're in either one. And the cycle of scarcity puts you in selling energy of the needy is greedy, graspy, attached to the outcome. And the cycle of abundance puts you in the posture of service, the serving energy, okay? So cycle of abundance, your feeling is a place of trust. It's a posture of trust. Like, I know there's so many people there for me, so many people to serve. If this person says no, that's okay. There's someone else. You're embracing the process rather than getting so caught up in like the rank and the outcomes and the prizes. Like, you are finding joy in the journey, embracing the progress. If it was a weight loss thing, you'd be celebrating the non-scale victories along with the pounds, right? So embracing the process. There's a high level of fulfillment with customers. This is a cycle of abundance. Because you care for your customers, there's high fulfillment. There's trust built. You see the lifetime value of every customer. There's referrals that naturally happen, and then there's growth, natural growth. Even if it's slow growth is much better than explosive growth that can't stop bleeding. It's true. That's why burnout happens. So that's a cycle of abundance. Cycle of scarcity is when you start from fear and anxiousness. If fear and anxiousness are the core drivers of your business, you better, again, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Those are not healthy primary emotions for operating in business. So fear, you are more outcome driven. You want the rank, you want the points, you want the things. You're not embracing the journey or the joy or the process at all. There's a high turnover rate because there's a low fulfillment rate. Because people are keep dropping off here, you have to keep filling your funnel. And because people are dropping off, what does that make you feel? Scarce. Oh no! You start freaking out. You're like, I gotta go find new people. And then you do the same thing over again. You find new people that you don't fulfill, and then they start dropping off. You freak out. Gotta go find new people. This is like scarcity continues to breed scarcity, and hustle begets hustle. So there's a high turnover rate, and then there's broken trust. And with broken trust, people ghost you. You have to beg for referrals rather than them coming to you. And I have a statement, I call it the bucket of holes. It's like, hey, people are coming in. Maybe you can be a fantastic recruiter, but if you have holes in your bucket, which is poor customer fulfillment, poor service, no matter how much you bring, it's going to be bleeding out. You got to plug in the rocks with love, service, gratitude, and a posture of abundance. And I know that sounds fluffy woo-woo. I know it does. But trust me when I say I've been doing customer service and business and online business long enough to tell you I've operated in the scarcity, I've operated in the abundance. This one's much better. And there's a lot more peace and joy and purpose and way less burnout. And your husband's not hating the business you signed up for. Because over here, they're like, honey, you didn't sign up for this. I never see you. I hate this. Like, because over here's all this neediness. Over here is like, hey, I'm trusting. I'm going to show up exceptionally well. And I'm going to trust to these hours. And Sabbath happens here, by the way. Sabbath happens in the cycle of abundance. Hustle is over here in burnout. I can promise you burnout's here. Maybe you've been there, but there is a way for you to do it different this time. And it's to really embrace the posture of service. Okay. I think is that anything else? Okay, I'm going to finish with a little story, and it's called Acres of Diamonds. And it is a phenomenal story because especially in regards to fulfillment, okay? I'm probably going to get the dates and facts wrong, but it is a true story. I'm not going to get all the facts wrong, but details. I'm going to get some of the facts and details wrong, but the story is true. I believe it was before World War I. There was this man in Africa that was a large property owner. He owned a ton of land, and a traveler came through his property and stayed with him. And he starts telling him, like, have you heard about this massive booming diamond industry? It's exploding. Like, it's this really expensive rock. It's going for millions. Like, you could be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. And so this landowner, like, gets all this big story-eyed, like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm going to go on this hunt for diamonds, which is so fitting in this call right now because you all want to be diamonds. And he's like, I'm going to go on this quest for diamonds. And he sells his property and he goes on this lifelong quest for diamonds. And sadly, he dies penniless and poor and broke. He never finds the diamonds. Well, in the meantime, the current property owner of the landmine, of the property, the visitor comes back. He comes traveling through again, and he stays. And he's visiting with the current owner, and he's sipping tea in his family room, and he looks up at the mantle and just spits tea everywhere, and he like can hardly get words out. He's like, he's like, what? He's like, do you know what is on your mantle? He's like, this is just a big rock I found in my riverbed. I don't know. I was just walking my property and found it. And it was the world's largest raw, uncut diamond that was on his property. And it ended up being the world's largest diamond mine to date. And the moral of the story is so often we sell the exact land we have been given and we think it's elsewhere. We sell it and we think the diamonds are somewhere else. And we've totally neglected the very thing we've been stewarded. And so I want to tell you, you are sitting on acres of diamonds. Your back office, the very people you have been stewarded, they might not look like diamonds when you walk along the riverbed. They might need some shining up and some cutting. But don't you go, what one man saw as a rock, one man knew as the world's largest uncut diamond. What one man saw as like, I have to sell this and go elsewhere. The other person was like, he was sitting on it. So do not sell. Stop believing that your diamonds is the next mine, the next piece of land, the next builder that comes, the next wholesale customer. What if your diamond is a wholesale customer, wholesale ambassador that says, I just want to lose 10 pounds. She just wants to feel better. And you take full ownership of it. And you're like, I'm going to give this woman a transformation. I'm going to serve her on the best level. And she tells everybody. And she tells somebody who's really networked and somebody who really wants it and is really explosive and influential. You could have diamonds. But sometimes we look at them and think they're insignificant. So my challenge to you is to go digging through your back office and just surf, polish up some rocks and see what you get. So I hope that served you well. I'd love to answer any questions, Kyle or Cassie, if you want to ask questions, but I hope that served you guys and give you some really great mindset shifts.
I knew you were gonna be good.
Kristen, like, I don't know why I'm super
I was
emotional
like
right now.
tearing up at the end. I don't know what's going on.
I have an entire thing of notes. I could
I know
not
that she kept
type
writing
fast
down.
enough.
And the funny thing is, and folks, I'm telling you, we get this every week.
I know.
I mean, it's
That's where
just
I'm
like, you were like, why are you so
she-
happy? It's like, because we met Kristen Boss. She's the
Literally.
other- yeah.
And
It's
I
just-
tell you, Kristen, you have given us, you've helped us so much in transforming, finding a place of peace, coming and serving instead of showing up and from a place where we're white knuckling it and where we're trying to make something happen. In the last 3 months in our life and our business has just been the most beautiful, peaceful, joy-filled, biggest momentum that we've ever had. I, personally, like I've seen it in my own personal business. I've shown up completely different. And so I'm so grateful that everybody got to hear your wisdom. I would love if anybody has specific questions, feel free to, let's see.
You can type them in chat or just.
Yeah.
Unmute.
In the chat and I'll answer, or they can unmute, whatever works.
Does anybody have amazing questions? Kristen, we actually got to kind of know her because we started with her purposeful platform. She has an incredible course that anybody can jump on. You can start it at any time. It's phenomenal. And so purposeful platform, Kristen, do you want to share a little bit about what that is?
Yep. Thank you for asking. Let me get the link up for you guys to go check that out. I also have a free Facebook community. I'm always dropping
it's awesome.
good content, like just content for you to think about, some nuggets. I have a philosophy. It's my own serving philosophy. There are a lot of coaches out there who have what I have, but it's in a paid form. Like you have to pay to get their content. And my Facebook group is definitely my way of giving and serving on my highest level. It brings me great joy because I love this industry. I love this business. So my free Facebook group is Becoming Boss. My online course, the Purposeful Platform course, it was born from the heart of wanting burnt out entrepreneurs to operate more from purpose and less from the hustle and the striving. And your purpose comes from when you understand at a very deep level what your contribution is to the world from your natural gifts, talents, and strengths. So in that platform, I teach you how to identify your natural God-given strengths and talents, your unique life experiences, so that you can identify who you are naturally best positioned to serve. Because we're not meant to serve everybody. You don't have to be all things to all people. You just have to be the right person to the right people. And that's it. And there's so much more rest in that. So I actually teach you how to identify what your unique gifts are, how to show up in the online space, how to identify who your target market is, which is going to feel incredibly counterintuitive to network marketing because there is the philosophy of like sell to everyone benefits, which is true. But you don't build trust with everyone the same. There are people you build trust with the quickest, like Cassie and Kyle. They're probably going to build like trust in the church culture really well because they understand those people. Remember how I said marketing was radical empathy? Well, radical empathy comes from a deep understanding. And we often have deep understanding from people who have walked a mile in our shoes, or we've walked a mile in their shoes. So I help you identify who your niche is, your target market. How do you build a personal brand? How to write compelling content writing, how to build an audience, how to do, like, I'm a copywriting queen and I give you my formula. It's $2.99. I have a payment option. You guys, it's like, if it doesn't change your business, message me, I'll refund you. Like if you do all the things and you show up and you do the work, I'll personally refund you. Like there's no reason why it wouldn't change your business. So I've included the link. I also have a Becoming Boss podcast where I'm always dropping truth bombs. I'm just a truth bomb queen. I'm just just prepare to like get triggered sometimes and be like, oh, area of growth. Yikes.
And I love it. Yes, Heidi's like, we need a whole weekend with you. It is truly phenomenal. And that's what I love, that you have your free community. You've got the Purposeful Platform. You've got small group coaching that you do a couple times a year. Then you do one-on-one clients. It's pretty incredible.
And it's so worth the investment. I mean, it is so worth it. And I think that every single person, and I don't know if you've caught this when Kristen was talking, but it feels like she's been in Plexus for 15 years. I mean, the way she speaks about it, the way she talks about it, you're just like, Yes. Yeah. Wait, how do you know that? It's so, it's fantastic. It's just like it's just really amazing.
And what I love is that, Kristen, you took a leap of faith into your own entrepreneur career. And so you are walking it right alongside with us.
That's right.
And so you have been there, you've walked this road, and I'm just so excited.
Someone's asking for your IG handle, Kristen. So
yes, my IG handle. Please feel free to get out your phones, take a screenshot, shout out on Instagram. I'll reshare you guys. That's my handle. Share a little takeaway. I love hearing feedback on like what was most valuable for you, what was most like. Let me know. I'm always looking for ways to serve you better and make the experience always better. There's the CEO of Domino's used to call his best customers every Friday and figure out what was going on in their life because he wanted to understand his target market demographic. And I think that's the best posture. Talk about customer service, being like, I want to understand my people. And like, I believe the market's always changing. So I'm always wanting to be ground floor and just hearing what people are thinking and feeling and what they're going through. So
I love that.
Yeah, my mind's still full from the first thing you said about change doesn't happen at the comfort level. I was just like, oh man.
Yes.
Like that was worth the price of admission tonight, which was free.
It was.
Thank
we will
you
watch
so much.
this again and again.
Yes.
Thank you, Kristen,
Thank you for your time. Yeah, really
Yeah.
appreciate it, guys. Thanks for jumping on, and have a wonderful night, Kristen. Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye guys. Thank you.